Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today I'm going to be talking about the Onewind Outdoors top quilt and bottom quilt that I've purchased for my summer hammock kit. Now I've been using my Onewind Outdoors summer hammock kit for the past several weeks. I've used it quite a lot and I don't feel that I have enough time to do a real proper review over it. I just haven't used it long enough. I really believe that if you want to do a proper review on something, you need to use it for about a year. That way you have a true understanding of its longevity and you understand it and you have enough time to be able to get to where you can use it fluidly. It's not like bouncing back and forth from different types of kit. It's like I know right now I have a real rough time every time that I switch my backpacks. It's like, where did I put that? And you know, that can be a real challenge. But with this summer kit, there's a lot of things about it that are new to me. They're unique designs, and my usual hammock kits are very simple. I have a lot more accessories with these, and like my top quilts and bottom quilts for all of my other hammocks, they're just top quilts and bottom quilts. I mean, there's not a whole lot to them, but the top quilt and bottom quilt from Onewind Outdoors, both of them have a lot of other things going for them, and I'm going to show you those. Now, the top quilt, bottom quilt both come with their own stuff sack, but I went ahead and left those at home, and I've been storing them in these. Actually, I can get both of them in one of these, and compressing it down pretty good and tight, save some space. And since when I'm ready to, add them to the hammock, I mean, both of them's coming out at the same time, so there's no real reason to have them in their own separate bags unless it makes it easier to store in my rucksack. Let's go ahead and take a look at each one. On the very center of both sides is an area that has bungee cord running through it, shock cord, and you can adjust the tension of that around you while you're in the hammock. Now, there is one location on my particular hammock that has a plastic clip or hook, and that is supposed to clip into this. However, that's not particularly practical for that particular hammock, so I've had to use another way, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. But all along the outer edge, there are little plastic snaps. Those go all the way around, except for the top and the bottom. On the ends, there are 3 plastic attachment points, and on each one of those attachment points is a bungee cord. All 3 of those bungee cord attachment points all come together into one mini carabiner that will clip into the hammock. And that is probably the most convenient, most practical addition that I've ever seen on underquilts. All of my underquilts for all of my other kits, I mean, there's a draw cord, which this has as well, right here. You can tension up, cinch all that up to where it's nice, neat, and small on the end, but that's it. And there's usually a couple other long bungee cords, but it's up to you to try to figure out how in the world you're going to connect those. Am I going to connect it to the ridge line? Am I going to connect it to the tree? Am I going to connect it to the hammock straps? Well, you have to sort of figure that out on your own, because you're buying a hammock underquilt and you're trying to figure out a way to make that work with your hammock. Onewind Outdoors, they basically knew that their hammocks have a location to where you can put this mini carabiner and it'll do its job. It'll pull everything up, hold everything right where it's supposed to be, and when it's getting pretty chilly and you get a little bit of a draft, you can pull that cinch to tighten everything up on the end and close that off. If it's, you know, not cold at all, matter of fact, it might be on a little bit on the warm side, you can open that up and allow a little bit of airflow to get in between the underquilt and the bottom of your hammock. I'm going to show you how this can be used as a sleeping bag or a double sleeping bag, and then we'll go ahead and put it on the hammock. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull one end taut with those cinch straps and tighten those barrel locks up all the way down. And that should hold that into place, but I'm going to go ahead, tie a slip knot in there, a slip hitch, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start snapping those plastic snaps all the way around the underquilt. Now this, I think, is a little different than what I possibly would have designed it, because I wouldn't have sandwiched it like this. I would have had it to where the snaps go overlapping to prevent draft. These are plastic snaps too, which is a little different kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead, that's about halfway, so I'm going to leave that off of there. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the ground, and we'll just see how much room's in that and whether or not I could actually use it as a sleeping bag, or if it's another one of those 3/4 sleeping bag things. Now I've got it just about half snapped, and we have all of these bungees with that mini carabiner to where it's supposed to be hooked up to the hammock. Just go ahead and tuck those right into the toe. That way they won't be getting hung up on twigs and branches and all that good stuff. Now, let's just see how far I can actually snap this up. Now, I'm not a particularly big guy, but things that I've had in the past, like my Osni gear, that's supposed to be like a sleeping bag type of thing, one of the accessories, I can't get it over my shoulders. Oh, let's see here. No way! Almost. Oh, no. It's not foolproof. No. That is close. That is very, very close. No, we'll try it. We'll see if we can get that. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to do it. It's like a straitjacket. Oh, there it popped a snap. Well, I have another 3/4 sleeping bag, but it is quite comfy. Let's go ahead and put it on the hammock. And the advertising of the hammock, there's little hook type clips, and it says it's designed to clip in your underquilt. Well, not this one. All along, well, not all along, there's a couple different places, 2 different places, to where there are these little D-rings. And I thought, well, okay, well, man, that's going to be hard, but okay, I'll give it a try. And these hooks are so small and tight. I mean, you can't get something like this in here, because when I tried, one of them actually broke. And then when I was looking at the distance between those attachment points, they didn't line up with these D-rings. So I honestly don't know if this was just a mistake or if this has actually nothing to do with the attachment points on the hammock. I personally, like the idea when I saw, the website that you can actually clip your hammock in all the way around. So if these didn't do it, I thought, well, maybe these snaps. There's no snaps along the opening of the hammock to be able to snap those in. The only way that you can attach this to the hammock is by the mini carabiner on those 3 bungee cords on either side. And I figured out a way that I can attach this bungee to the center connection point on the hammock. It's not the way it's supposed to be, but it's the only way that I can do it to where I think it's going to work and work for a long time. With my other underquilts, it takes several minutes to set those up, and then I'm constantly going back to readjusting them. So this is Onewind Outdoors answer to simplicity. And where I have the shock cord adjuster, I'm going to run it in one of those clips, which is the only thing that can get in there that's attached to this. And I don't really know if this is actually the way it's supposed to go, but it's the way that I'm using it. Get the other side. Just the hooks that I'm clipping these into are turned in a way to where the openings under here, I'm pushing the bungee cord in here, and it can pull out. It needs to be the opposite way, to where the opening is on top, so you run it underneath and behind and clip it in to where it can't get out. But the other way I've done it is I've just tied that loop of bungee cord on the side right around that webbing that's the hook is attached to, and it works just fine. Go ahead and draw these end cords in. And I camped here last night with this kit. I did not use the cinch cords, the drawstrings, last night. And I was perfectly fine from underneath. The top quilt failed me, I think. But other than that, yeah, that's it. That's all there is to it. Super fast, super simple. Now this is the top quilt. It is another rectangular quilt that has multiple purposes. As a top quilt, about halfway down toward the bottom, there is a strap. You'll see there are snaps, and along the bottom there is a draw cord. We're going to go ahead and pull that draw cord, and these are not bungee cords. These are like a micro cord, like a 550 type cord, and we're going to snap all those snaps all the way up to halfway. And what this does is to create a toe box. And when you're using snaps for anything that you're going to be moving in, sometimes that's not the greatest thing because they become unsnapped. Well, with the little piece of webbing that had the buckle, bring this in, it would be right here. You can buckle that in, cinch that all the way up, and that would prevent you from pulling that apart to allow those snaps to keep unsnapping. So now we actually have a proper toe box for us to be able to lay down our hammock, put our toes down there, and to be able to pull the rest of the top quilt up over us to keep us warm. There's another way that you can use this. Again, multi-purpose. We're going to go ahead and take that buckle off. Well, not disconnect the buckle, not take it off. We're going to unsnap that all the way. We're going to loosen those draw cords, extend it the rest of the way back out, and about 2/3 of the way up toward the top of the top quilt, there is a little area like this with snaps. We're going to undo those snaps. And the short end goes in front. You could wear it like this so you'd be like a Gumby. Or you could actually pull all the way back the way you're supposed to have it. This is if it is, you know, a little chill in the air, but not really cold enough for you to really get in and hunker down. You do have a couple snaps here toward the bottom, and you could snap those in behind you to keep your torso a little more insulated. Get that? But like I said, these plastic snaps, they pull apart. And then we also have our buckle here. So you can buckle that and pull that in as tight as you want. And if you really need to, you could snap those the rest of the way down, and you're really cocooned in here. When I was moving around this morning, I just went ahead and just pulled that fairly loose, and I did not have the snap snapped in the back. So the front was sort of out of my way, but I still had plenty of maneuver space, and if you need to, you can get that out of your way so you can do something. But it is an insulated poncho that you can wear around either in the evening or in the mornings when it's chilly, and then very quickly reconfigure it into a top quilt. Now, Onewind Outdoors does sell an Underquilt Protector, which is a fabric that it's thin. It's supposed to be DWR treated, durable water repellent treated, but also so are the quilts. They're supposed to have a little bit of DWR on there as well. But let's just say, for the sake of saying so, you want to go on a day hike away from your camp, and you know we're supposed to be getting some wind, maybe be getting a little bit of light rain, maybe some light sleet, wet snow, what have you, and you don't really want to trust the DWR that's on these things to keep it good and dry, because this is your insulation for tonight. If you purchase the hammock sleeves / snake skins with your hammock, this is what you can do with that. Now, of course, this is all summer weight materials. So there's a good possibility that heavier weight stuff would not fit in here. And, you know, it's a good possibility. Not all of this is either, but you're actually going to get a lot more in this to protect it to some degree than what you could without it. That top quilt's bundled up right there in the middle. It's like a snake that's just ate a great big old duck egg. There we go. We're getting it in there now. Shoving this in the sleeve / snake skin is a little more difficult than deploying the underquilt, that's for sure. Okay, we got her in there. There we go. So you can go away, take care of all your business out away from the camp, go for a day hike, and be able to come back to dry, warm quilts. And just pull these back. Put your guy lines back out. And you're ready for business. Now, as far as the top quilt and the bottom quilt goes, I like them. I don't like the fact that I thought I was going to be able to connect my underquilt to the top quilt when, as you can see, here's an attachment point, there's an attachment that they can't line up. That bothered me. I was not happy with that, because the advertising on the website said, yes, you can have, you know, underquilt attachment points on the hammock. Whose hammock or whose underquilt? Because obviously it wasn't these two, and there was nothing specifying which models matched up with which model of underquilt. So that sort of bothered me. But as from the way I've been using it, the way I figured out how I can use it, I'm perfectly happy with it. Perfectly fine. This is summer weight. Last night I found out that I have a limit to the effectiveness of this insulation. And as far as the top quilt goes, unless I actually put on a full base layer before I get in there, which I don't really like the idea of doing during the summer, my cutoff for projected overnight lows is going to be right at about 55 degrees, because I was a little chilled in my hammock with the top quilt on me. My back was fine. It was just the top that was chilly. And I also know that I will be bringing like some type of sleep cap, toboggan, whatever, to put on my head, because as soon as I was able to finagle that to where I could wrap the top quilt around the top of my head, within a few minutes I was warm again. All of the heat that was escaping from my head was making my body lose a lot of heat that it needed to stay comfortable. And once I did that, I got a couple more hours sleep. But 50-55 degrees, that's pretty much going to be my limit on this summer weight stuff. I am looking forward to using this well in through the end of September, and I think I will experiment with varying degrees of base layers for additional insulation other than the top quilt to keep me warm, and definitely take a sleep cap of some type and work with that a little bit more. But hopefully by the end of September I will have had all this stuff figured out, and it's all going to be old hat to me, and I'll be ready to roll next summer. Well, I hope this little bit of information was helpful to you. If you were considering purchasing any of these things, maybe this might give you a little bit more information that you can use as a research to base your decision on. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just telling you right now that I like it, and I got to use it a lot more before I feel that I can do a proper review on it and to recommend it or not. But right now, I'm still using it, I'm still liking it, and I feel fairly positive about it. And by the end of September, I'll probably have to tuck it away for a little while, maybe till next summer. And I'll probably be using the hammock throughout the winter. I'm going to have to upgrade the top quilt and bottom quilt to the winter weight stuff. And maybe those actually connect properly to the hammock. That would be nice. But if you have any comments, anything you want to share, recommend, maybe you have the same problems that I had, give me your solutions to how you dealt with these things. And that way the entire community benefits from it when they read the comments. And I'd appreciate that. Anything you got to share, I always want to hear it. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. But I definitely have enough time with it to give you some pretty good thoughts on it and how I'm feeling about it, and show you a few more details about them. Now, I have the top quilt and the bottom quilt in this. No, I don't. Now, the top quilt and the bottom quilt both come with their own stuff sacks, and I've just put both of them in here just for ease of transportation, and I've left the other ones at home. So they're real basic. Now, in the very center of both sides, there is shock cord with a barrel lock. No, it's not really a barrel lock, but it's on, I believe it's both sides. Now, take two, cut.